This is part 2 of building a startup in Nigeria. I wish this part was where I would tell you the progress we've made, how much money we're making and all the rest, but unfortunately that's not the case. Before we get into that, if you're new here, my name is Tega Abiri, and I'm documenting my journey to living a productive life, trying to build businesses and sharing my journey on here. So let's dive in. So this video, we're going to be dividing it into 4 parts. The first part is an introduction to what my startup is, in case you didn't watch the previous video. The second is the things that I said I was going to do in that video. The third is the progress that we've currently made, if we've made any progress. And then the final are the things that I plan to do moving forward, some of the challenges and maybe lessons that I'm learning. So let's dive in. So the name of my startup is Patwhay, and it's a platform that's basically like Udemy for university. And the idea basically is that we'd have instructors create university courses. All right, so I'm talking engineering courses, computer science courses, medical courses, social management courses, and all the rest. And there's one platform where they host all of that. And then the students that would need, to gain access to these courses probably didn't really understand the things that their lecturers said in class and all these type of things. They could access all of that on the platform. That's like a basic summary of what the startup is about. Then the things that I promised to do in that video, the things that I said I was going to do, I think in the video I said that I was going to, launch in Bowen University first. That's the university I'm currently in. And the idea behind that was it would be easier to fail in case, the startup idea, went right. Then it would also be less expensive because, if I don't have to spend so much money on advertisements and all these type of things, then it will be able to move forward more quickly. Now, the difference between the idea that I had then and now is that I don't think that's really the best, right? I think a better approach that I'm now taking is to make it more public from the get-go, right? And it's basically that we'd create a Twitter account. That's usually where I'd like to launch our advertisement and social campaign and all the rest. So create a Twitter account and start posting stuff on there, instead of waiting till the platform is built to have instructors, to have courses before creating a social media presence. Basically, like how I'm running my YouTube, that's how I want to run Apex, right? So I'm documenting my journey there as well. So instead of maybe having, videos that are 3 months apart, updating you guys on things, you'd be able to see everything live on the Twitter account, basically. So by the time the video is going out, Twitter account ready, so you can follow that video. So the idea would be to have the Twitter account and be posting stuff on there, keeping you guys updated, and then to reach out to instructors even from there. So instead of confining it to just Bowen University, anyone will be able to create courses, anyone will be able to market them, because it's really the same syllabus through and through, right? At the end of the day, maybe different course titles and all the rest, but it's really the same syllabus. So that's the general idea, and that's what I'm planning to do now. And then the next major thing that I said in that video was that I was going to create the site with WordPress whilst waiting for the developers to work on it and everything. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that any longer. I tried to do that. I have built a course management or university management site before for the previous company that I was building, but it's not something that I was interested in again because I eventually got a designer. I'll talk more about that. I eventually got a designer. He designed it, and looking at the site that I was building on WordPress, like it was very right, like it was very obviously I'm not a designer, so I was basically just putting colors on there and all these type of things, and I was not really excited about the fact that the first contact that people are going to have with my brand would be what I was building, basically. So I decided to scrap all of that and say, okay, whatever is going to come out is going to be built properly by designers and by developers, so it makes it much easier, at least in my opinion, for people to accept it, right? So I scrapped that and decided to hold off on that. So those were the things that I currently said I was going to do in the video, and now this is the update on that. Then for the progress that we've currently made, well, we haven't made so much progress. I think one of the issues or challenges that I had was, a number of people reached out to me saying they wanted to help with the development side of things, the designer or the product design of the startup and everything. And I held off on that for a long time because I was, trying to build the WordPress, trying to get instructors and all these type of things. And when I eventually was ready to have the developers, the designers come on board, most of them were not really interested any longer, right? So there hasn't really been so much progress made on that. But we do currently have a designer that's working on it. He has built like the landing page. The screen record would go, somewhere. But then he's built the landing page for that. I think it's really good. We're excited about the brand color and how everything is going busily. So he's just designing the flows and everything. I have a front end developer. I think I'm looking to get some other, maybe a couple more. And that's it basically. We don't have a back end developer yet, right? So this is the progress that we're making, or that we've made so far with that. And then I've sort of like changed the plans and the ideas and everything. I realized that one of the major issues that I've been having is wanting to be really perfect about this, build the whole platform, put it on there, and let people. But I mean, one, to get all of these things up and running is going to take a long time. And it's not like I'm impatient, or I want to launch this fast so we can start making money. That's not really the idea. It's that I want to launch it as fast as possible to give people something to work with, so I can get feedback and we can iterate on that. All right, and that's going to basically lead to the next part of the video, which is the MVP. So instead of launching everything at once, the idea I'm thinking of now is to just get like a minimum viable product out there, so we can test, get feedback as soon as possible, and see the things that we can add and remove from the general base. Because I can't really imagine what it's going to be like if we build the whole platform, right, and eventually everything flops, right? It's not something that I can really fathom. So the idea I'm thinking of is basically to like launch an MVP that will probably not take more than a month, a month and a half to get out there, so we can get feedback as soon as possible. So let's dive to the ideation board where I show you the plans that I currently have for the MVP. So I was sort of like thinking of what the MVP for Apex is going to look like, right? Because the idea is we're trying to create a small product, but you look at like what the actual one is going to be, but in as short a time as possible, like I said, so we can get people to give us feedback and we know how to iterate upon what we're going to do next. And the idea that I came up with was, instead of trying to build a whole course management as the MVP, right, we're going to build a lookalike using probably videos and then Google Drive. So the idea is would have some instructors, maybe just like 5 to 10, or maybe the major courses in university, maybe general courses, difficult courses like math, 100 level, and all the rest, right? And they would create videos of this. So they'll probably create a crash course, because remember, we're trying to do this as soon as possible. So instead of like a full semester's course, they create a crash course of the particular course in university, and then they upload it to a Google Drive, right? A shared Google Drive, Apex Google Drive, and they upload it there. And then for people that want to gain access to the course, they can probably just pay a fee, whatever the case is, and then put their email on the Google Drive so they will have access to that. That way we can launch as soon as possible, and they can tell us if they like the idea, if the courses were helpful, how they would want the layout to look like and all the rest. And if we can actually get this done, then we can do this as soon as possible, probably in like a month or a month and a half, and we can like get our stuff out there. All right, so I'm a project manager, so this is sort of like how I handle most of the things that I work on, whether it's building companies or planning events and all the rest. I sort of like doing work breakdown structure first and then build from there. So this is the work breakdown structure. I'm going to go through it together. So the things that basically I would need to do to get at least this MVP up and running. All right, so this is the initial layer, the Apex pathway. Then the next layer, we have 5 of them, and these are the things that I have to do. All right, and then underneath these 5 we have some others, and I'll probably leave it at that because there's still some others underneath this. I'll just leave it at this so we can get started. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is planning and setup. So we can just have planning. So we just need, the first of course is to plan. All right, then I already have it here. Then we have the course development. This is going to be from the instructor, so we can just have course dev. Then we're going to have the website development. Okay, then of course we have to test to make sure that everything works fine, testing and quality assurance. Then we have the launch. All right, and this is the final part. So these are the 5 parts, at least, that I itemized. There could be more, and I could be grossly underestimating this, but then these are the 5 things that I sort of like thought of in terms of what we need to push out for the MVP. All right, so now let's look at the planning. What exactly are the things that I need to do? All right, the first would be to define the MVP scope, right? And that's basically like what I was talking about earlier, but like defining in details because I'm not sure, I'm going to be working with the instructors, I'm going to be working with the web developers, and the guys that are going to help me with the marketing on X. I'm going to be working with all of them, so we need to know exactly what the MVP is going to be about, and it's how we basically start any project to define the scope. All right. So then the next would be to create folders. So the folders that I was talking about, all right, the Google Drive. So to set that up, right, we're going to have different folders for different instructors, all right, and that's the next thing that we have to do, all right, before we even move on to the next to create the folders. Then we have to create the forms, all right. So there are going to be a couple forms. There's going to be the instructors form, and then there's going to be the students form. So the instructors form, what course do they want to create, their qualifications, like did you get a B and above in the course, how fast would you be able to get the crash course up and running, basically those forms. And for the student side of things, probably a payment gateway of some sort, their name, what course it is they are opting for, and all the rest, right? So basically try and create all the forms. And then the final would be recruitment. All right. So I'm not the one that's going to create the courses. Obviously, it's not my team that's going to create the courses. It's something that basically people from far away will be able to do. All right. So basically, the next would be to recruit the instructors, and that's going to be basically like posting on X, sharing on my social media platform, and getting people on board. Right. So that's the general idea. Then for the course development side of things, all right, so we're going to have an onboarding. We're going to have an onboarding for the instructors because I think I mentioned this in my last video. Not a lot of people know how to create courses, right? I've been doing it for a while, so I have like some experience with that. So we're going to have an onboarding. What exactly is we're looking for? As much as it's a crash course, we want it to still be value packed. People should still be able to at least pass their test from getting the crash course and everything, right? We're going to talk about timelines. How long should it take you to complete the course? If you're in my school, right? Maybe I can help you with some spaces where you can record and things like that, basically. So we're just going to have the onboarding, and that's the first part of the course development. Then of course we have the creation. That's the content creation part. So now after the onboarding, they're going to get started with this, start to create courses. So they're going to itemize, look through the whole syllabus. It's a crash course, so they will not be able to go in depth on every single course, and that's the idea. We want to, of course, with the full platform, it's not going to be crash courses that are going to be there, but the idea is to try and get this up and running as soon as possible. So that's why we're going the crash course route. So start to create the courses and all the rest, and then the final would just be the review, right? So the quality of the courses. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually open to like 3 people creating one course, right? So instead of, because what I was thinking of was one person is going to create maybe Math 101, another person is going to create maybe Anatomy 205. I don't know this course code, right? So, but then I think I'd be spreading myself too thin. So the idea is that most people can create whatever courses they want, but then for now it's just going to be general courses, so we can have as much a target audience as possible, right? So we're going to review it, look through the course syllabus, look through things that the instructor created, see if it aligns with our goals before we push it out there, right? So these are the couple things, and these things really need to be involved before we launch, right? Like these things can't be, we can't like skip them before the launch, and that's something about managing projects. And I probably didn't know this at the time I started all of this, that we don't necessarily have to wait for this to be done to come here, right? There are certain things that can work concurrently, and it's really just about having like people, resources, and trying to get that done, right? So I can have someone create the folders, the forms while we are recruiting. All right, we can have the onboarding while they're still going on. Like we don't have to wait for all of this to be done. Certain things can happen concurrently, and that's basically what we're trying to do. All right, the web development obviously is going to happen concurrently. You can't wait for all of this to be done for this, to happen. So the web development side of things is only going to be a 2-page. Well, it's not a landing page, but it's going to be like a 2-page website. So the landing page where you find out what Apex is about, just a simple landing page. Right, what Apex is about. Then you're going to have a link that's going to lead you to the next page. Probably if you want to review or look at the courses that are available. All right, and in the next page, you're going to see all the courses that are available. Of course, not going to be so many because we're looking at just maybe 10 to 15 instructors, maybe 5 to 10, in fact, instructors. And that's what the next page is going to be about. So it's going to be a list of all the courses that are available, a description of them, the person that created it, what level, the person is, or what level it's for. Basically, just a description of that. So just a 2-page website, all right. And then once they can click on any course, and it would lead them to a Google form, as simple as that. So we're not trying to build anything too deep. It's not a course management website yet, just 2 pages. We already have a landing page ready, like I said. We're probably going to make a simpler one. And then the next page, that's going to be that basically. So for here, this is going to be, so the first would be to design the homepage. All right, the first would be to design and develop the homepage. So the designer and then developer for the homepage. Then the next would be the course listing page. Right, so these are 2 pages that I talked about majorly. And then so once this is designed, then we'd have the front end developer work on it. Obviously, it's a 2-page website, we don't need the back end developer for it, right? The forms are going to act as the back end. So that's basically that for web development. Then obviously we're going to have to test, probably with people in my schools. I can talk to them like really quickly. Just send the link out on my WhatsApp status, have some people test it and see how it goes. For that, basically, we're just going to test the course purchase flow. All right, so there's a flow to it. The flow is the land on the homepage. All right, on the homepage there is a link that takes them to the next page, which is the course page. All right, and then if they click on any course, say they wanted to buy a course, it takes them to a Google form. All right, and then there's no payment gateway on the Google form. Basically, you're just going to see like an account, right? Maybe you do that or something, right? And you're going to pay, and then upload your receipts on there. Then, someone that works in Apex would send you an email, telling you the next step. So we're going to like test the whole flow, see if it works, see if the links are broken, see if everything works basically. So that's the first thing that we're testing. And the next basically is the usability of this. All right. So we want to gather feedback from the website. How exactly does that flow? So not just if things are working, but then from a user perspective, right? Because I found out that, because it's my platform and my product, I'm probably going to like it and not, maybe I probably won't look at it from a user perspective. So I have to ask someone that, doesn't know anything about design, anything about basically like the average person, right? And see how the flows are. So that's that basically. And then for the launch, all right, so we're going to have like an announcement for this. So the announcement is not going to come when we're done with all of them. All right, there's going to be, we're going to have been announcing these things since, obviously, because we would need to at least mention that there's an MVP for the recruitment side of things, right? So for us to like recruit people, we need to at least say that, oh, okay, this is what Apex is working on and all this type of thing. So the announcement is not going to come like once we're done, we're then going to announce. We'll be announcing it since, building up anticipation, probably have like a waiting list and all the rest. So that's that. Then the next would be to, of course, monitor. This is meant to be launch/marketing, but monitor sales. Obviously, monitor sales, get feedback from people, and then post launch. Right, and then it's this post launch that's going to lead us to the actual platform being built. That's the idea, right? So this is the final step of the process. So once we get here, we're going to eventually know that okay, we're actually starting to build it. And of course, whilst all of these things are going on, the actual platform is going to be built. And based on the thing that I mentioned earlier, we're going to have like an X account majorly. That's the only platform I'm thinking of right now, right? Maybe an Instagram later, but X for now. And we're gathering data, all right? So based on the landing page, how do you think the website should be? We're going to post some screenshots of, what the developers and designers are working on, right? And just trying to get data from that. So that's the whole idea. And all of this shouldn't take, because this, right, is going to be going on concurrently with this, all right? This is going to be going on concurrently with all of these, because these two guys, that's the front-end developer and then the product designer, don't have any business here, right? So it's going to be going on concurrently. And then for this, obviously, for these parts, they can only happen once we're done with these 3 parts, all right? So I'm looking at launching this in March, and not because it's going to take like 2 months for us to get this done. It's because of timing, right? It's currently, at least in my school, and I assume that's how it is for most schools. Second semester probably starts in like March, April, in and around. So that's basically what the instructors are going to be creating courses on. They're not going to be creating courses on first semester courses because that's already passed and it will take too long to test that out. So it's just going to be second semester courses that they're going to create, and then we look to launch this in March. Of course, the marketing, like I said, will start much earlier. That's the build-up anticipation to that and all the rest. So that's that for the MVP. All right. So in the last video, a number of people reached out to me, so I want to give that opportunity again. Right. So I don't know if you liked the idea, or if you like the idea, think it's something that you want to work on. That's if you are a developer, front end and back end, and it's something that you want to work on, then you can just like mention it in the comments or something, or send me an email. Right. Like my email will be on the screen. You can send me an email with your CV. Also, it's not paid, right? And I'm saying this to like filter some people out, so you know that okay, that's what it is. And if you want to work on the project with me, you want to build something there, you can just send me an email. So that's that. I will try to make sure that the next update to the MVP and the whole platform is not going to take like 3 months. I think the last video was in November or October, one of them. Nah, it was like October, right? I'll try to make sure that it's not that long. So that's that for this video. If you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.